Hi everybody, it's Joni Ann here. Welcome back to my channel for another painting tutorial in acrylics. Today I'm going to show you how to paint a winter angel. I'm going to be working on a 60 by 20 double primed and stretched canvas. Feel free to change up your size canvas if you like. And I have the following brushes here: a 1-inch mop brush, number 4 filbert, number 50 filbert, and a small short detail liner brush, which is a number 1. And the following colors here: titanium white, phthalo green, phthalo blue, Mars black, hooker's green hue permanent, luminous yellow, and luminous pink. So if you guys are ready, let's go ahead and get started. I'll begin this painting by wetting my canvas down with some water first. This is going to help me blend my paint around the canvas. I'm going to use a combination of the black, blue, green, and white for the background. So we'll start with some blue and green and a little bit of white. And I'm just going to make it patchy like. I'm going to add a little bit more white now. This will give us some softer tones. But ultimately we want to have a darker background and have our angel sort of glowing with a little Christmas tree that she's gazing up at with a lot of pretty snowflakes and stars around. I'm going to set that brush aside and go over to my dry and clean soft mop brush. I'm going to just blend this out to make it look really blurry. And then we're going to come in and add a little bit of black, blue, and green around the edges to really kind of create a vignette, gradiate from dark to a little bit lighter. So this is a great way to blend acrylics if you're just new to learning how to paint with acrylics. This is a wonderful way of blending to create soft backgrounds. And you just see all those harsh brush strokes and lines disappear. I'll set that brush aside. And I'm going to take a little bit of black with my blue and green now. And I'm going to come in the edges here. And we'll start fading this into the rest of the base coat. Just a little bit more black, and I'm going to mist my palette here with a little bit of water. This will help keep your acrylic paints from drying out too quickly. Okay, so I'm just giving this a soft blending, just a little figure eight or kind of back and forth. I'm going to rinse that brush out, and I'm going to go back in with my mop brush here This is starting to dry already, so I'm just gonna mist lightly. Now sometimes misting the canvas, misting your painting will take off some paint, like you see right here. And sometimes that could be beneficial, like today, because I'm gonna be painting a lot of snowflakes and sparkles and stars. So I don't mind if that happens. That's just saving me a little bit of time later on. Kind of gives the same effect of applying salt to your paintings, you know, or maybe you don't know, but if you apply salt to watered down acrylic paint or watercolors and you wait for it to dissolve and then remove it, it's just you're left with little patches of canvas underneath, and it can look a lot like snowflakes, stars. So I'm going to just rinse these brushes out. And we're going to completely dry this off now. Once we dry this off, we're going to start slowly sketching in our winter angel. And then once we're done our angel, we'll add a little tree. Okay, so I've just dried the canvas off, and we can start coming in with our angel. And she's going to be in this portion of the painting. And then of course we'll have a Christmas tree back here that she's gazing at. And we'll just start with my little detail, a small brush here, and we'll start working on her profile. Now I'm going to be using some white. You can tint your white with any of these blue-green colors, or really any color that you want. You just want it to show up against the underpainting, of course. So we'll have her gazing at, we'll just add her face right here. So her face is going to be on an angle, right? We'll have her forehead come out a little bit and then have it dip in a little bit for her eye area. And then her nose, bring it in. A few little bumps there for her lip. And we'll just start blending that out, leaving a little dark area there for her eye. Just going to bring her jawline up a little bit and outline this area here, bring out her cheekbone. And then her neck area. On an angle to keep with her looking up that way. We'll have her hair coming down here. I might add a little bit of a darker base first, but I just want to have this initial shape of her hair in here just to block this in here. I'll add a little bit of shadowing in here. There's going to be some shadows in here as well. I'm just rinsing my brush out, and I'm going to go into some black, some white, blue, green mixture, and I'm going to come right in here And then just soften. Come around her nose, eyes, adding just little kind of, it's hard to see, but like this, to make it look like her eyes are open. There's some eyelashes and an eyebrow, a mouth, and then dark area here for her neck. And there's going to be hair in here that's going to be covering most of that area. And I'm going to add a little bit more white now, and we're going to highlight the bright areas. Her neck, adding a little bit more white there. And I'm going to change my brush over to my small filbert brush, my number 4. And we're going to start coming down with her shoulder. Now her shoulder's going to start with a darker shadow. I'm going to take a little bit of green in here, mix that in with my black, blue, and other green mixture. And what I'm going to do is pull from here, and we're going to add her shoulder, and then her arm coming down here. This will be her elbow right here. Take a little bit more black and green. I'm going to add some more blue in my palette as well. Okay, I'll just mix up a little bit more. Teeny tiny bit of white in there, so it's not to look black. And I'm going to come over the top of her hair here, because I want to come in and have some really nice highlights, make her hair stand out. I'm going to bring this color in, and then I'm going to slant over like this, because her dress is going to come down here. I'm just wiggling with my brush, keeping my pinky here on the dry canvas so that it helps guide and helps me have a little bit of control and steadies my hand a bit more. I'm just going to rinse my brush out. I'm going to take some white with a clean brush, and I'm going to add some light right here. And I'm going to wrap around part of her gown. We're going to bring her waist here, and then we're going to shape in her leg here, bring it to her knee, and then go down where her foot would be. We're going to have some snowflakes and her dress. They're going to become one. Just going to pull some pretty sweeping lines over here for folds in her gown. I'm just going to come in on the other side of her arm here and add a little bit of light. Take a little bit of blue, a little bit of green, white. Mix that up. Add just a little bit more light here on her arm. And then I'm going to come down here, sweep over her shadow with some pretty fabric. Let's darken that a little bit with some blue, black, and green. I've got a little bit of white here in my brush as well. Just pulling these lines and kind of just weaving in here. Mixing up a little bit more of that pale blue. Again, it's just the green, the blue, and the white, tiny bit of black. It'll just mute it a little bit. Curve this over here. But heavier with the blue and the green now. We're not really going to see the bottom of the dress. What we're going to see are like little snowflakes and stars around. I'm going to mix up a little bit more white with what's left in my brush. So we're back to like a light blue, kind of trying to get the background color because I want to just clean this little outer edge of her arm. Just clean that line up there. Got a little brighter. I'm going to add some more white on the end of my brush and start sweeping in, making this highlight brighter. Now we're going to stop in here, right? We just want to add a little bit on the very top of the outline of the dress here. and on her arm. A little bit more on her cheek area here, chin, forehead. Okay, I'm going to come in with my liner brush now, and I'm going to show you how to add some highlights and waves in her hair. I'm going to use just a little bit of water, and I'm going to add some highlights gradually. So we're going to dip into our blue-green mixture, and we'll start with that. We've got our dark base. This is going to be like our mid-tones. So we'll add a few lines here that aren't really wavy. They're just going to go over like that, and then we're going to come in and sweep over, scoop and sweep, scoop and sweep. I'm going to take some white now, and we're going to make the top brighter, just like we did with the bright white here, and then it fades to darker. So we're going to have some brighter highlights, the top of her head and the side of her face here. I'm going to go back into my blue, green, white mixture. And then I'm going to make it wavy. Wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. I'm going to my dark blue-green mixture. Just a little bit more. The eye area, just around the edge of the nose. The mouth. Just really lightly blending that, just softening that a bit. Okay, we're going to come in with the wings now. So we're going to start the second one, like the one on her would be her left side. We'll start that one first, and then we'll come in and layer the other one. So I'm going to be using my small filbert brush. I really like filbert brushes for feathers because you get this really nice wispy look. You can control the width, the thickness, and your lines, especially when you have a nice filbert brush that you can make narrow. So choose fairly decent quality ones. I think I got a package of these years ago online for like $20 some, and they've really lasted. So you don't necessarily need to spend a lot of money on your brushes. What I'm going to do is start with pale bluey green. Make sure that shows up though. It's got to be a little lighter. Maybe even a little bit darker. I either go lighter or darker, and this is where it's going to be a little bit darker anyways in shadow. So I'm going to go and make that darker, and then we'll add our brighter highlights wherever we need to, more towards the top. So all we're going to do is just come in, pull, 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 and then start to come from the end. The end of the filbert brush is the perfect shape. Wisp in like that, and then we're going to just keep going. Make this a little darker in here, more green and blue. Creating those lines. And then we're gonna go up like this. We're gonna take some white. The white's gonna mix in with the other colors in our brush. We're gonna go inside some of these here and just start pushing and pulling. In towards her body. I'm just bringing a little bit of this light blue inside so they're outlined in dark. I'm going to take some more white now. I haven't washed my brush out. I want the colors to blend. You get a nice gradual, like one stroke when you do this. Now, I'm going to rinse my brush out. And I'm going to start coming in with the second wing. And I really like her hair. Like, I don't want to cover up too much of it, but we're going to have to cover up a little bit, obviously. So I'm going to start that wing right here, right in this area here. And I'm going to start with green and blue, nice and dark. I love this phthalo blue with a hooker's green hue permanent mixed. It's just the most gorgeous shade. And I'm going to just start dabbing, 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 little brush strokes for little feathers. And then we're going to work our way up. We're going to create a little scoop here, little scoop, and then we're going to go up here, so a C or a crescent moon, and then we're going to go up here, and then the shape of the feather is going to come up like this. Sketch it out first if you need to. I'm going to start to bring it in. And just back into my green, blue, dark mixture. Little dabs. We're going to have some hair going over part of this too, just because it needs to look like it's properly layered. So we'll have some hair kind of dangling over after, but we're just going to work on this first. I love painting like wings and feathers. And if you want to see more, have a look through my playlist of portraits and figures, and also animals, birds, butterflies, and fish. But I'm gonna start coming in with my white. Now I want to actually wash my brush out for this because we've got lots of dark here underneath, and I'm going to come in with white, and I'm going to start with the longest feathers first and then build up. I'm going to go from the end here, push, pull, let off, push, pull, let off. Can make some of these a little thicker. And if your paint is still wet like mine is, then you'll be able to get some really pretty blending. I'm going to add a little bit extra white to these ones back here that are starting to dry, and they look a little darker. Okay, now we're going to start layering over. You want to leave a little bit of space so that you get some dark shadows in there so the feathers look layered. we're just going to make them smaller and smaller. I hope I'm breaking this down in an easy to follow along kind of way for you guys. Small, small, small. And then just tabs. Dab, dab, dab. A little bit of blending right there. Take a little bit more white, mix that in with some of the light blue. And I'm just pushing and tapping lightly for these smaller feathers, and then gradually making some bigger ones. I'm gonna just make this one a little bit wider because this one is a little bit wider. So I'm gonna go on the top there, gently push and pull in. I'm gonna add a little bit more white to these because I know it's gonna dry a little bit darker, and I wanna make sure that they're visible. Now, if you guys have any requests for some paintings while I'm working on these, just adding a little bit more light to some of these, let me know in the comments, or you can send me a message directly on Patreon. Now, when you send me photos that you've taken yourselves, and this is only available on Patreon, when you send me high quality photos that you've taken, and if I decide to paint yours and make a tutorial out of it, I also gift you the original painting and send it to you free of charge. So it's just a nice extra little bonus on Patreon that I offer, and to say thank you to you all. Okay, I'm gonna add another highlight here, again, because it's starting to dry a little bit darker, and I really want to have these glowing highlights. Okay, I'm going to come in and add a little bit more hair now. So I'm going to go back over to my round brush, or my little liner brush. Take a little bit of that light blue, and I'm going to add a few little ripples of hair here. A little bit more white. Just on the top. First, I want to create a little bit of a glowing halo. So I've dried that off. I've got my little filbert brush, and I'm going to take just a little bit of white, a little bit of blue, anything that's going to, just as long as it's bright enough to stand out against the background. So we'll start with just a little bit of a glowing ring around her for her halo. really soft. And then I'm going to come in with my liner brush and just start making, oh, I've got a bit too much water on my brush there. I'm just going to start making some star-like shapes like this. And add a little dab on the ends of those little lines. And a little dab in the center. And then we're going to add a little V. Now these are so small that it's kind of hard to see, but they have to be small because it's just her halo, but I'm going to show you more clearly. When we come in with some more that are going to be a little bit larger. Okay, so we've got a few little snowflakes there. I'm going to take my toothbrush, get it wet, dab into my white, and I'm going to spray on some light snow or stars. And I'll start coming in with some snowflakes down here. And again, just start with a cross or a T like this, and then add some V's like this. Add a little dab on the end. And I kind of just make them up as I go along, but something kind of like that. So you just start with a few simple lines. Then you can start getting more creative, add little diamonds. Any kind of little geometric design you want. I'll have a few over here as well. A few lines that just go like this. Really simple. And then add another line through. This makes them kind of appear round. So there's different types of snowflakes you can make, round or square. Let's add another little one right here. Didn't even have to reload my brush for that one. So having just the right amount of pressure, paint, and water in my brush. Okay, I just want to make some smaller ones. Little lines, dabs and dots. And then maybe just a few little bits of snow that are not detailed snowflakes, but just a few little extra little dabs like this. You can soften with your finger. I was going to add snowflakes all into her dress, but I think I like the way it looks like this. I think sometimes less is more. But what I want to do now is start painting the tree. And I think I'll have the tree come up right about here. I'm going to use my 4 filberts, get it just a little bit wet. Use some blue and green. I'm going to just mist a little bit with my water. Flatten my brush out. You just want to have a little bit of paint on the end of your brush. And I'll have a little tree right here. And I'm just going to start to tap the branches out. I could actually use a larger brush, but I'll make it work with this one because I'm really in the flow of this and I don't want to stop. Don't we get that way when we're really enjoying something we're doing? Okay, just gradually making those taps a little bit harder so that you get some wider branches naturally as they go down the tree. And just a little bit more in here. Now what I'm going to do is take a little bit of white, mix that in. So we get like this little light frosty kind of color. I'm going to add a little bit on part of the tree, make it look just a little bit frosty. This will also kind of give it a bit of a glow too from any lights that we are going to add. And I'm just going to really lightly flick off some of the edges here to make it a little bit blurry. We'll have a little glowing star there after. I'm going to take a little bit more white. To all of my beautiful followers out there watching this right now, I'm painting this for you and I'm sending you Christmas blessings, health, happiness. May all your health problems and anything that you're going through. Ease off this coming year and bring you peace. I'm going to add a little bit of extra white here and just gradually start adding a bit more of a glow to the tree. So a little tap tap and then flick flick. A little bit at the base of the tree. Add a few little taps here in the center of the tree as well. Okay, now I'm going to come in with, I'm actually not even sure if I'm going to use this pink. I will for another tutorial, but I'm not totally sure I need to for this painting. I might, you never know. I'm painting this mostly intuitively. I mean, I looked at a few images and profiles of female figures and then decided to create this composition here. Just adding a little bit of a glow here for our star that we're going to add. So just a little softness of this pale yellow white mixture. Now I'm going to come in with my little liner brush, add some white, a little bit of yellow again, really just tinting my white to make it warm. And I'm going to add a dot in the middle, a little out on either side. Add more lines so it looks like a glowing star. And then a few shorter ones. And I'm going to come in and add some lights on the tree. Little dabs on an angle, twisted and wrapped around the tree. I've got quite a few winter painting tutorials that I've put out this year, depending on when you watch. This is 2024. It's end of November. Boy, this month flew by awfully fast. And we're getting close to December. Now, if you want to see all of my winter and Christmas painting tutorials, you'll want to be part of Patreon and also my YouTube channel, so you can look through my playlist. I've got playlists categorized for everything here on my channel for you guys. And if you see something that you really want to paint, but I'm just sharing, some of my videos are condensed and shorter versions from what you'll see on Patreon. So it's just one of the benefits of Patreon, where I have exclusive content and full-length versions of some of the tutorials that you see here on my channel. But I do have a lot of full-length tutorials here as well. I'm gonna add a little bit more up here. I just really love the way the lights look. I've been painting a lot of Christmas trees like this. I'm going to go back the other way. And I think maybe I will add just a bit of pink in there. There's a lot of blue in this painting, and I think it's nice to come in and add a little bit of these warm fuzzy colors. So I'm just going to come in and dab going the other way now. And it doesn't have to be perfect to look pretty. Just remember that. Don't worry too much and stress too much about trying to make everything perfect. It's not a photograph. I always say it's a feeling that you're trying to convey with art. And you get that by colors and light and shadow. You don't even need to have a lot of color. To bring a feeling or a mood across. It can just be simply black and white. And I'm going to add a little bit of a dry brush. I just wiped the excess off. And I'm going to add a few little dabs here around, and then just make this a little bit glowing on the outer edges here. So I might even come in and take off a little bit from our lights wherever they're still kind of wet. I'm going to go around and make some of these really glowy. They might even look like ornaments. Okay, and then I'll finish off with my filbert brush here. Just catching the edges. I'm blending some of this out. And I'll finish off with, if I can find it, where'd my toothbrush go? I've got this blue one here. Gonna get that wet. A little bit of white. Even a little bit of that pink and yellow is fine. And I'm gonna add the last spray of little stars here and sparkles on the tree. Okay, I want to wish you guys all the very best. Merry Christmas, blessings to you and your loved ones. I'll see you all very soon in my next video. Bye!